Hi, I am Bill Hodges, and this is Spotlight on Government. And I have a guest today that I've known for a long, long time. I had all my hair, in fact, when I first met her. Mariella Smith, what a wonderful time to have you on this with all the things going on in Hillsborough County. And now you're a member of the BOCC, Board of County Commissioners. Wow.
I'm so happy to be here with you too, Bill. Yes, we do go back a long time, and I have always held you in high esteem, and I'm honored to be on your program today.
Well, I tell you what, I'm squinting a little bit because I had cataract surgery yesterday. So they're still putting drops in my eyes, but I can see you very well. And the 15 years hasn't hurt you at all. You look great.
And you as well. You as well. I would know you anywhere, and give my love to Phyllis as well.
You know, when I first met you, it was you came and joined Toastmasters,
Hmm.
and you had a burning passion at that time to get out and save our environment. I mean, seriously,
I know.
it was it was like watching a torch. Really, you were burning to do that, and I thought, gee, that's nice. I mean, it's one person. She'll get out there. She'll do something. But I never really expected you would have the impact that I've seen you had over that 15 years.
And if I've had any impact, and I have had some impact, but it's been because I am able to connect people, and I'm able to, I think one of my talents is to explain an issue to people and talk to people who also care and help them get involved in our political processes, our government processes, or, in order to make a difference. One person can make a difference, but it really takes a village, and I think that our community is in a very exciting time now where people really are understanding issues and getting involved in issues right here in Hillsborough County. So it's an exciting time for me to be on the county commission.
Well, talk about one person, but you know what? There's an old saying, it says, where there is no leadership, the people will perish. So you have to have that one person who provides the spark, or as you did, a burning torch to get things moving. And I remember a lot of times it was like screaming in the wilderness for you, I'm sure.
I'll tell you, when I started out and I branched out from environmental protection to community, neighborhood issues, and community planning. I've done community plan, won awards for, but for always for involving the community in community planning. And when I would 20 years ago, 15 years ago, go speak to the Rotary Club, to the Audubon Society, to various groups about growth management and doing infrastructure concurrently with development and the impacts of sprawl rather than smart growth. It was all very wonky, and kind of difficult to understand, but people would get
They
it.
really came for lunch. You just were bonus.
But now I got to tell you, Bill. Now I go to groups and speak about these things, and they're finishing my sentences. They know, and people now have become a lot more informed about the difference between sprawl overwhelming our infrastructure and our environment and smart growth, and how we can grow and direct growth in ways that will not lower people's quality of life if we're careful.
What is your background? How did you plan to get into this? Is there an education you went through to get there, or did you just self-teach?
I've self-taught on these issues. I have a master's degree in ethics and well, philosophy really, but I was teaching ethics and logic at Florida State University. So that's kind of helpful in a politician.
You know, that's an interesting thing you bring that up. At the University of Dayton, I was not a Catholic student. So non-Catholic students had to take 15 hours of philosophy. And one of those classes was logic.
Hmm.
And honestly, of all the classes I took at the university, that was the most important class that I ever was a part of. I learned more from it that I could transmit to many different things. And
I agree.
I'd like to see it taught all the way, Boolean logic starting all the way from grade school forward. So kids could say A equals B, B equals C, therefore, and they've got some logic behind what they're saying.
I agree. It helped me learn to think, and also the teaching helped me learn to explain things. And but I got interested in the environment just because I am a Florida native. I really love getting outside. I hike, I kayak, I bicycle all over the state, and particularly our area. I think our area is paradise, and I will just do everything I can to protect our rivers and our woods and our natural habitat and our wildlife. And from there, I branched out into, as I say, community planning, understanding that development goes hand in hand with that, and finally, transportation is such a key part to our quality of life. I'm now chair of the Heart Board, and and I think another role in my job is to, as I try to involve citizens and community and listen and talk and dialogue and figure out solutions together. Um, I have tried to appoint good citizens to the various boards and advisory boards and councils that have a role in advising the government too. So always thinking of bringing in people with the citizens' experience, because otherwise government spins way off into its own ivory tower up there in the pink palace of downtown Tampa, and it gets out of touch.
I will never forget years ago in a town called Fairborn, Ohio, up by Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. There was a fellow by the name of Tony Torch. And Tony was a stonemason and a miner and Italian and very little education, but he wanted to run for mayor of that little town. And so I worked with him on it. And Tony said to me, "You don't have to have super degree in order to know when you get out of your truck and you're ankle deep in water, there's a problem with the sewers."
That's right.
So, you really don't. You can make an impact without having all these degrees by simply looking around, as you did, what needs fixing.
Hmm. And the people who are emailing us on the board with pictures and videos and their own experience of where the system needs fixing. I read all that email. I listen to all those voices, and they are having an impact on our county commission as well. So, I mean, if that is key to a good government, is an engaged citizenry.
As you know, I live out here in Sun City Center, and I've lived here now for close to 20 years. And 674, we used to have a few trucks coming up and down it. But even though they've expanded it, widened it, did everything, it's just plain dangerous anymore. And the traffic is backed up all the way from the center of town back to the expressway every night, with people trying to get to all the homes built on the other side of 301. Nobody in the planning department gave any thought to moving all those people across the 75 to go to work. And that's something that I know our people in this area are very, very cognizant of.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm a Tampa native, 5 generations back my family was, but I moved down to South County 20 years ago. And at this point, I'm the only voice on the county commission that lives south of the Alafaya and south of Bloomingdale. And it's my mission to make sure that they hear from people and that they hear what's going on here, because as I talk to people in Tampa about the traffic in South County, what they'll say at every turn is, "Yeah, I know. Had to go down there one time to this one thing, this one time, and it was terrible." And I said, "Yes." And imagine if you have to do that twice a day to get to work and take your kids to school, and you're in this frustrating traffic, and your commute has gone from, 20 minutes, 30 minutes to an hour. Or more if there's an accident, and there is an accident in my commute once a week. So
Without a doubt.
it's important to really bring that home, because as you say, the planners can look at the maps and from an office on the 26th floor, but until you're really in that traffic yourself, or you're really hearing from people expressing what the problems are, that's when you sharpen your pencil and figure out how to fix it. And the good news is we are making progress. And this board, we have a good board, and this board is listening. We part of the solution is making development pay its fair share of the infrastructure costs.
I have to tell you that certain boards, first of all, the developers have a lot of money.
Yes,
And money talks in politics. I don't care. It does.
that's right.
And the big problem here was that there was a lot of money and people receptive to it. And they did away with things like the impact fees and
Right.
things of that nature that might have made a difference. But
Absolutely.
let's talk about water. Water, I know, is something you're very involved with. You're on the board there with,
Tampa Bay Water.
yes. Let's talk a little bit about water. We're on water restriction now. And this is winter. And what happens? We keep building houses. Are we not going to have any water at all?
I was just in a workshop with the county commission, with our water utility director, and with the Tampa Bay Water director right now, right before this program. And we were going through what are the plans, because what happened is South County grew at an unprecedented rate, an unpredicted rate over the last 3 years, and added 7 million gallons a day of demand to the system.
Let me stop you just 1 second
Sure.
there. 5 years ago, one of the commanders from District 4 took me for a car ride. In fact, it was during the part where the bubble had burst. Maybe it was a little longer than that. Took me through there, and he said there's going to be 3,000 houses built there. There's going to be 4,000 here. There's going to be 6,000 over here. So to say unexpected, somebody knew this was happening, and somebody either was taken care of or didn't care.
And I think everybody's been
Which
in
does
their
not
own,
reflect on this board because you weren't there.
right. And I think people were in their own silos, and people were thinking, okay, well, I'm just planning how the streets are going to go, and I'm just planning that looking at other requirements for the development, and then the water utility is got the big 3-county view and of Pasco, Hillsborough, and Pinellas, and weren't really zeroed in. And suddenly, and really, it was just in these last 3 years that suddenly a lot of this came online. And so now I've been bringing this to the board, and actually it was, this is the pressure that has made us have this workshop today. And so we are making sure that we're going to be bringing enough infrastructure online in time to deal with this. But at the same, these things, for most of it, there's no big solution. It's a lot of little pieces. So one of the
playing catch up.
Is getting the infrastructure online. The other piece is paying for that. And so we have raised impact fees on developers.
About time.
Yes. And so that's moving forward. We do have a backlog where, as you noted, for 20 years, they have not been paying their fair
Right.
share at all. and so we've done the studies over the last year to be able to set impact fees. And the other piece of this puzzle is timing the growth as it comes along. And I've just said today I'm going to be working with county staff and planners to make sure that we are. I dug up the state statute that says we're required to plan growth and water as well as schools and infrastructure together. And so we really need to make sure we're fulfilling that responsibility. And if that sometimes says you can't build that for another couple of years while we build this infrastructure, that's what I think most people expect us to do.
Florida doesn't have a lot of water. I mean, there's a lot of water surface wise, but as far as pumping it, we're not like some of the other states like Ohio that has that huge basin of water sitting underneath of it from the glaciers.
Mm-hmm.
So there's got to be a point at which we say, we can't do this anymore. We just can't, somebody says, shut the 75 off at the border.
In terms of water, the infrastructure that is planned over the next 8 years will provide plenty of water for the foreseeable future beyond that.
Oh,
What I'm
okay.
concerned
Well, that's good
about
to
is
hear.
the next 8 years. There's a booster station supposed to come on in 4 years and another pipeline supposed to come on in 8 years. And we have a couple of troublesome pinch points during that time as to, depending how fast we grow, whether that infrastructure will come online in time. And we'll have to be very careful with that. But after that, we will have plenty of water.
Out of curiosity, I've not heard anything for some period of time about the desalination plant. Is it still in operation? Is it providing water
in
to us?
operation. That's our most expensive water, and it is not. It is not running at. It has, as far as I know, it has yet to run at full capacity. So our reservoir is a really good emergency backup drought proofing system.
And it's been fixed. It's working
Yes.
properly.
It's been fixed. Yes. Yes. Water is a tricky thing. You know what I learned today? All the pipes that Hillsborough County has in our county carrying water, if you stretched them end to end, they would go from here in Hillsborough County to Los Angeles and almost reach Hawaii. That's how much pipes we have.
Wow.
And all of that has to be not only laid and paid for, but maintained and filled with water
And replaced.
and replaced.
A lot of it is old. I know
Right.
Charlie on the city council is constantly talking about pipes. That's his thing.
Right. He's on Tampa Bay Water with me. He represents the city. I represent the county.
He always talked about sewer pipe reaching all the way to New York and back.
That's an interesting image.
Tell me, are there other environmental things you'd like to talk about before we move on to? And I do want to talk a little bit about the COVID situation.
Well, water has its environmental impact as well, because if we grow too fast, if we draw down too much, we can impact our surface water, and that has
Draw
environmental
salt into it.
Mm-hmm. And then our septic systems have environmental impacts as well. And so we are also working to convert our septic systems to regular, normal sewer systems. And I don't know if you ever realized this. I worked a lot on this in Ruskin. Ruskin and Waimama have a very old-fashioned low-pressure sewer system that has been holding us back economically in the development of restaurants and businesses in our town center of Ruskin and Waimama because of these antiquated, essentially it's a septic system with an electric pump on it.
Just in case.
So I've been working really hard I found some funding out of the BP oil money we are almost done with the studies and design needed to begin a 5-year process of changing Ruskin and Waimama to 21st century sewer systems.
Commissioner Smith, we've got about 7 minutes left, and I'd like to talk about the COVID situation, the problems that we had in the beginning, and compliment the county on the one they ran there on Big Bend, because my wife got her shots there, and it was in and out. They did a beautiful job both times. What kind of things are you seeing with it? I know the problem at the beginning was a system that just didn't work, but that was set up in the state, was it not?
The whole thing is a state Department of Health project. Now, each county has their own state Department of Health office, and so all 67 counties in Florida were given various batches of vaccine at the beginning of the vaccination program to deal with, and that was it. And so for the first 2 weeks, it was our county tried, and because Hillsborough County, of course, doesn't maintain a department of vaccination appointment setting, right? We had to find a contractor to do the appointment setting, and they failed miserably. And so
well, the pressure was horrible also.
Yeah, so we fired them the first week and hired another one. And then after the second week, which didn't go very smoothly either, but not as bad as first week, the state has stepped in where I think they should have, because setting appointments, right, setting appointments needs to have big, giant server systems, computer systems that the state is more in a position to provide. So they've taken that on. But I am hearing the kind of compliments that you said about our county's handling, because our county has just stepped in to help the state.
They were just so nice.
It's a crisis. So we're helping the state to get our citizens vaccinated. And we have our county employees, from the directors and the management level all the way down through the ranks of the staff of county employees, have been being called up to emergency duty in addition to their regular jobs, and directing traffic and checking people in. And I'm hearing not only that they're running these vaccination sites very smoothly, but that they're being very nice and kind. And I have to say, I see that throughout our county ranks of employees in all through departments, from our parks department to our water department to everywhere. People are really motivated to provide constituent service.
Chad Chronister, our sheriff, his people did a great job too. Friendly, people. Well, I should have got a shot, but I didn't get it. Can I get it? No, I'm sorry. Very patient, very nice. Jeff Mary, our neighborhood the sheriff's deputy out here in Sun City, worked some of those shifts, and he said everybody was very good about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And our county has also pitched in and helped the state, providing hotel space that we paid for with our funds from the CARES dollars too. But we've set up these hotels for quarantining and isolating people so they don't infect other people, and running the test sites. So we've really been pitching in to provide as much help as we can to our citizens throughout this years-long process of battling the coronavirus.
I've got about 3 minutes left. What haven't I asked you that you want to talk about before we run out of time?
All I would say is for anybody to always contact my office. You can go to mariellasmith.com and find my page at the county. And I've got great staff that will help with any issue, anytime, and help you to deal with anything you're dealing with in the county. But I would also just ask everybody to tell their county commission, go to the county website and tell all the commissioners. It's important that we all hear what your concerns are. Oh, is it schools? Is it, well, the schools is out of our bailiwick, but roads, transportation, whatever is going on in your community that we can help with, tell all the commissioners so we can work together on it.
Well, we're really lucky with the website that the county has, because you can write one message, mark everybody, hit it, and you all get it.
Absolutely.
So it's important. You know, people say you can't fight City Hall. Well, everything is not a fight.
That's right.
You know, sometimes it can be a team effort, and people can go in there and say, hey, look, here are the things I saw. Do you see any way to help us change that? I was just talking to the VA today and talked with product improvement people and process improvement, excuse me. And they were telling me they get a lot of the good ideas from people who are irate. But when they calm them down and say, hey, wait, you know, just tell me what you want. What is it that you need? And then they calm down. And I think that's the same way with your office and the other commissioners.
Yes, and we are working together at the county level across parties and working together and listening to each other. This workshop we just had today was a model of that. So I'm encouraged. We're at an exciting time. We have a lot of things that we're facing, a lot of big issues, but I really am optimistic that we are in a position to make those changes. And I think we're here because the citizens, the communities have spoken up, and they're not content with the status quo, and they're pushing us. So I would just say keep that up.
That's important. You know, don't give up just because all of a sudden you think, well, it's not going to matter what I think. But it does matter, and you can't change things if you don't know what needs to be changed.
Right, right. And also, one commissioner speaking, it just has a lot more power if there's other citizens saying, you know, yes, our children are going to school in difficult situations without sidewalks in this area, and we need sidewalks, and we need bike lanes, or you know, whatever it is in your neighborhood. It's important that people hear it from the citizens, not just from a county commissioner.
We've run out of time, Mariella, and I knew we would, but will you come back with me again?
Yes, I've had such a good time with you, and I love seeing you, Bill. And just you are providing a good service of keeping these conversations in the community going, and informing people and helping people be engaged. Thank you so much.
Well, this has been Spotlight on Government with my guest, Mariella Smith, member of the BOCC, or Board of County Commissioners. And I thank you for being with us. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you. You're unique, you're special, and you're great. Tell you so often, because you are, you know.